The fuel scarcity matter here on Sunrise Daily is what we would like to end the week with. Joining us to look at ways of ending the fuel scarcity as the financial analyst, Bayo Rotimi. He joins us. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We've had the NNPC, the PPMC, the DPR, and even it was NUPENG that also came on this particular matter. Just yesterday we had those who were looking to get in the modular refineries and see if this perennial problem can come to an end. To you, you're Nigerian, you've always seen this year in, year out. How do you feel whenever we get into this state?
I feel saddened as a Nigerian. As far as I'm concerned, we have no business being where we are today. We're a country that is richly blessed. We have abundant natural resources. What has been lacking has been the leadership as well as the willpower to effect a fundamental change in our economy. There is no reason why Nigeria, one of the world's leading producers of crude oil, there is no reason why the average Nigerian cannot access refined petroleum products as and when they need it at a price that is affordable. So there is a need for a fundamental review of this entire industry. And I think that review must be anchored around a removal of the fuel subsidy. Unless and until that hard decision is taken, I'm afraid that we will continue with this cycle.
It's a horrible cycle for Nigerians. It's a cycle that just would love to get out of. And don't forget that there's been an attempt in times past, specifically with the last administration.
Right.
And everyone kicked, just a few marketers and some few individuals who understood what this is about. Don't forget that it was only yesterday that the World Bank also made headlines saying that the best time for Nigeria to take off the fuel subsidy is now. Yeah. You agree with that?
I agree absolutely. You know, the World Bank says in the last, between 2010 and 2014, Nigeria has spent in excess of $35 billion on fuel subsidies. Now, this is 7 trillion naira. 2 or 3 days ago, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing was saying that in terms of road projects alone, he has contracts awarded of about 2 trillion naira, of which only 18 billion naira was released from the 2015 budget for that purpose. So it really does not make any sense for us to subsidize, in quotes, because I think we should even interrogate this subsidy itself.
So that's why you're saying in quotes?
Yes.
So let's go ahead with the interrogation now.
Yes, let's interrogate it. The PPPRA, fortunately for all Nigerians, they disclose their information publicly. So any Nigerian can go to the PPPRA website today and see the landed costs of petrol, PMS in Nigeria today. It lands in Nigeria at approximately 77 naira per litre. There are distributor margins in aggregate coming to another 15 naira. So total cost landed per litre in Nigeria today is 93 naira, give or take a few kobo. Now, government is selling that same product at 87 naira, which means that the subsidy is all of 6 naira, a little over 6 naira. The subsidy represents less than 6% of the landed cost of 93 naira. Like the World Bank said, I don't think there is a better time to take out the subsidy completely, because really the fall in oil prices has reduced the landed cost. So if all of the subsidy we're talking about translates to 6 naira or 6%, then it's time to take it off, because the 6% is not really the issue in itself. The critical issue revolves around the inefficiencies in the system, because you have oil marketers who are going to ask you for foreign exchange differential because the naira has been devalued. They're going to ask you to subsidize or refund penal interest rates that banks have charged them simply because government did not pay for subsidies in time. You have the inefficiencies around the delivery and the discharge of the cargoes. So you go to the Nigerian coastline today, you will see ships backed up, waiting to burst. We do not have sufficient docking facilities. So automatically, demurrage will be incurred. then it lands. We do not have sufficient depots to receive the products. We do not have proper transport and distribution infrastructure to take this product all over Nigeria. Inside of all of this, a significant proportion of the petrol that lands in Nigeria is shipped outside of Nigeria, simply because if you take it to Niger, you can sell it at 200 or 250 naira.
And it keeps dropping.
And it keeps dropping.
Just after the FEC, it was only, I think, about 3 days after FEC pegged it at $38 a barrel.
Absolutely.
In the budgetary allocation for the year, it dropped to 35.
That is a different conversation. I think that government may need to review the assumptions around the 2016 budget, tying it to a $38 per barrel price. I think in the current environment we're in, even though government feels it is conservative, I actually believe it is tending to be too optimistic.
So maybe we should put it at $20 a barrel?
I would say without a doubt, we probably should be working with a $25 to $30 band. And it will be a moving target because every day the forces of demand and supply affect the price of crude oil. So our budgeting must be more dynamic.
Let's look at the cost of oil in the market that's continued to drop, and the fact that the landing cost here in Nigeria has remained the same. So let's just say they take out the subsidy and sell the products at the landing cost.
Correct.
What difference do they make?
Well, you see, the reality is this. I just ran through the template. So if you go by the template says, given current oil prices, every liter of petrol lands in Nigeria at 93 naira 14 kobo.
And that template was made at the time oil was above 100 naira per barrel, $100 a barrel.
Very good.
So that means now that it's dropped,
It should be a template have been adjusted. Excellent. Now that tells you that we are running an unsustainable system. We're running a process that really cannot stand up to scrutiny. Why should 1 liter of petrol at $38 per barrel or $40 per barrel today, why should it land in Nigeria at 77 naira?
All right, Mr. Rotimi, while we sustain the argument for the removal of the fuel subsidy, why is it that between 2010 and 2014, about $35 billion, has been paid as subsidies? Meanwhile, the oil prices keep dwindling. The government keeps shoring up the amount of money paid out as subsidy claims. Why has that been? Why that disparity?
Well, it is again the subsidy or the subsidizing inefficiencies. And I think a lot of analysts have spoken to this particular point. It really, really does not make sense for us to be providing a subsidy at such significant cost to the Nigerian people. 7 trillion naira 2010 to 2014 is significant. Even in 2015, the World Bank says 18% or 25% of our national budget has gone or will go towards the payment of subsidy. So you are talking about another trillion naira. So in 6 years, we have spent 6 trillion naira. If you take 6 trillion naira and say to the Nigerian people, would you not prefer that I put this into infrastructure, I put this thing into education, I put this thing into healthcare? I think, like I keep saying, this is the perfect time to take this thing out. Because people have always said, the average Nigerian today, do they buy petrol at 87 naira? Overwhelmingly, the feedback is no. So if only a few people get to buy at 87, if only a few people tend to make the bulk of the returns from this fuel subsidy regime, then I think that this is the time for government to show the will. So inside of the 2016 or the medium-term expenditure framework that has just been released, I see that government is still intending to subsidize fuel.
Even at the minimal rate. But
at the minimal rate.
Let's look at, if you don't mind, let's look at a case scenario where the subsidy is removed. How would it look like?
Excellent. Let's backtrack a little bit. A couple of years ago, diesel was deregulated. On the average, diesel prices used to be around 150, 160. As I was coming into your studios this morning, I was looking at the prices displayed on various petrol stations. There's a petrol station not far from here. I saw 115 naira. So what it means is, when you allow private sector, right, to get into the business, private sector has a profit maximizing objective. So what it means is, they know that they need to source products at the lowest possible price, right? And they also need to sell at a price that keeps them in tandem with competition. So if one person, if we have a totally deregulated environment, zero subsidy, and one petrol station is selling for 80 naira per litre, and another is selling for 79 per litre, then the consumer has the choice to make. Do I go here or do I go there? I believe that in the short run, you may see higher prices, but I believe that once you are in a deregulated environment, the people who are investing in refineries are more encouraged to make more investments, right? The government is out of the equation. So a lot of the inefficiencies and the corruption around that system, it goes away. And ultimately, the consumer then now has a choice. So we have seen it in other sectors that have been deregulated. In the short run, there may be some pains in terms of initial price hikes as the players get a feel of the market and try. You know, if there are a few suppliers, you tend to maximize your profit. But as more suppliers come into the game, then it starts reducing.